Hello and welcome. This is episode number 3 of the weekly show with Cristina Malita. This is she. I'm Cristina. I'm the founder and the leadership coach at the Limitless Sky. And today's episode is called, Are You Secretly Committed to Failing? And this is something that I've looked at in my world really in the past 1 week, and it got triggered by something that we've addressed in the last episode of the weekly show, which was survival versus thrival. And commitment to failing or commitment to failure, for me, it's one facet of survival. And as I committed or as I chose to get out of survival and into thriving mode, this came up for me. So I want to share a bit of my process and my awarenesses, and I'm going to give you tools that you can use too if you find yourself committed to failing or committed to something else rather than succeeding. And as I was saying, I'm going to share a bit of my story here. And feel free to take notes. I'm going to share a few tools with you, and the tools are universal. So if you use them, they work. Obviously, adapt them to your situation. But if you're going to choose something different, and if you're going to create something different, probably that success that you're looking to create, probably being committed to something else. If you're watching this video, you will have to use the tools. So let's get started. I had to become really honest with myself and look at where was I functioning from. So if something's not showing up in your life the way you say you want it, or the way you say you desire it, and you put work and into it and still not happening, it means that subconsciously you have some sort of points of view or limiting beliefs that are creating that for you in your world. Because your points of view create your reality is not the other way around. We have the subconscious mind that is so powerful. It's where all the beliefs and the belief systems and the thought pattern, all of those are stored in there. And even though maybe consciously we say we want one thing, but subconsciously we don't, or there are some beliefs limiting us, beliefs sabotaging us, then it won't happen. So the first question I've asked of myself, okay, so I got the awareness that I'm not committing to succeeding, and I was really looking at this with my business and my work. So you can apply it to your work, your career, your business, or this can be applied to your personal life, your health, your relationships, whatever that is for you. So I realized I wasn't getting the level of success I was saying I wanted. So I realized really quickly that there was something else going on in the background. So this idea of commitment and what am I committed to came up again and again and again, especially in the last 1 to 2 weeks. So when an idea or an awareness comes up again and again, I know I need to look at it. There's something there for me. So then I ask the question, okay, so if I'm not committing to succeed and succeeding with this, what am I committed to? And this is a question that I invite you to start with. So whether you're, following this process right now with me, or you take some time to put the questions down on paper and do some journaling, or you want to take some quiet time away, maybe in the morning or in the evening, do this process. And I recommend starting with this question: what are you committed to? What comes up for you? What's the first thing? What's the first awareness you get? And this is where it's really important to stay honest with yourself. The thing I got was I was committed to trying. Trying what? Well, I was committed to trying to wake up earlier. I was committed to trying to engage with more people. I was trying to, be consistent with videos and showing up on camera for you guys. I was committing to trying to make more money in my business. I was willing, or I was committed to trying to travel more. I was willing to trying to make new friendships. So all of these try, but trying is not doing, or is not being, is not choosing that thing. Like it's like, okay, try to eat an ice cream. Are you eating the ice cream? Or are you like looking at it, like trying, struggling, pushing, pulling, but not actually doing it? So, and I always tell this to my clients, trying is not actually choosing the thing you say you do or you want. So trying to eat an ice cream is not actually eating an ice cream. There's a big distinction there that I knew, right? But until I was willing to look at like, what am I committed to? I wasn't seeing that. So, I was committed to trying to waking up earlier. Did I wake up earlier? Well, not really, right? The question is like, how does that work for you? Well, it wasn't really working for me. So first of all, I got really present with what was the commitment truly for me. And basically, if you're trying, or if I was trying, I wasn't choosing success with whatever I was looking at. I was actually choosing failure. Because trying is not doing. Trying is just that, trying. Doesn't work very well. And then I followed what I know, and I have this big toolbox of coaching tools, so I started using them, and I invite you to use them as well. So one tool that I talk about over and over again is powerful questions, or our powerful questions, because questions open up the space for new awarenesses, for new insights, for new information that maybe you didn't have before, just because you weren't asking the question. So then a good one that I invite you to ask of yourself as well is, what's the value of being committed to, filling the blank? If you're committed to trying, as I was, then what's the value of being committed to trying for me? Or if you're committed to failure, or if there's another word or there's another commitment for you, fill in the blank with that. So what's the value of being committed to fill in the blank? Because you see, if you're choosing something, even if you're choosing it unconsciously, there's some sort of value for you in it, because otherwise you wouldn't choose that. Right, so then I realized there's some sort of value for me in choosing trying, but not choosing succeeding with business, with the targets I have, and so on. And then I really had to look at, and this was the next question I've asked of myself, and I want to give it to you as well. Whose points of view and what points of view am I proving with the commitment to trying I keep on choosing? Because there's some sort of value in me for it, obviously, because I keep on choosing that. So what am I looking to prove here? What points of view, what beliefs, whose and what beliefs and points of view am I looking to prove here with this choice? And then I got so many new awarenesses from that single question. And it's going to be different for you, right? Because we all have these insane, crazy points of view. And basically, points of view are these thoughts, right? These patterns, these beliefs that we have in our subconscious minds that most of them we are not even aware of, right? Because the subconscious mind is way more bigger and more powerful than the conscious mind, right? There are studies showing that 92 to 95% of our lives are run by the subconscious mind and not by the conscious mind. And you can go look at these studies. right? So even though consciously we say we desire something, if subconsciously there's a different story going on, it won't happen. You won't create it, because your points of view create your reality and not the other way around. So what I became aware of were all these points of view that, weren't even mine, that, it's hard, that it's risky, that I can't, why can't I just have a normal life and, deal with something else and, just be happy and stuff which was not even mine. Right? So what are you proving? Whose and what points of view are you proving with the commitment to trying or failing are you choosing? What's that for you? And again, be willing to get really honest, because otherwise nothing will change. So for me, that was a lot of, that brought a lot of awareness. And then I kept on asking, so what would it take for me to be willing to commit to succeeding? Because obviously I wasn't committed to succeeding before. So what's that? How does that even look like? What is commitment to succeeding? And then somehow, because I'm very self-aware, and you'll have to play with this, and you'll have to build on these muscles, but I became very self-aware of the fact that I wasn't really ready to choose succeeding yet. So then I asked another question. So I'm throwing questions out at you, and you pick the ones that work for you, or try them out and see what comes out of them. So the other question I've asked is, what is success for me? Because, so I'm moving from trying and failing into succeeding, and I'm looking at committing to succeeding with business as business, with career as career, whatever that is for you, fill in the blank. But then what does success mean to me? And this is where I realized that I had some sort of, I was rejecting this success at some level in my being. And then I really I really had to get really present with what that was. And I invite you to do the same, because this is key. So what have you defined as success? Because we all have these ideas of what success means. So for me, in my career and my business, what have I defined as success? And then I became aware of all these, which weren't really mine, ideas of what success is or can be or should be, which were related to how much money I was making, to how much money I had in the bank, to how many clients, what was the nature of that clients, how big of a client that, how big the clients were, what were the brands, who were the people I was working with. And there was some sort of rejection inside of me towards that. So then I realized that was not actually how I'd like to define success, because that wasn't really that important to me. So again, what have you defined as success? And is that even yours? Or did you pick those ideas of what success is from your environment? And I've told you this before, 99% of our thoughts, feelings, and emotions are not even ours. We're these big radio receptors, and we pick up so much from the environment, and then we think it's ours, that these beliefs, these feelings, these emotions are ours, whereas, most of them are not. So ask yourself, is this mine or someone else's? So I realized, I'm functioning from a definition of success, which is not even mine. So of course I'm going to reject it. Of course I'm not going to want to be committed to that success, because it's not what makes me, it's not what fulfills me. So then I had to explore okay, so if it's not this thing, and I'm willing to let go of this other thing, then what is success for me? And that's really an exploration. because we haven't really spent time reflecting on what is success for me with this, what is success for me with my career, in my career, what is success for me with my relationships, with my health, with my, whatever that is. And I realized really quickly that I asked this question last week regarding my house and my home situation, because that wasn't working for me. So I started asking, like, okay, so what would I like to create? What would be fun for me? What's my idea of success with my home? Because definitely it wasn't that. So then I got to like play with it and reflect. So here's an important aspect. Don't go into your mind right away trying to figure that out, because that's going to be, again, based on your beliefs, and most of them are not even yours. So when I say ask a question, is not to go into your mind right away to figure that out. It's to sit with it, to let it simmer, to look for clues, to engage with that question, to let information and new awarenesses come to you. So the really crazy thing that happened, and I want to give you this example because I find it quite interesting. So I asked, like, what's success like with my home for me? What would be fun? So what I realized after playing and sitting with that question for a few days is that for me, it would be fun to have like 3 homes in 3 different countries. I was like, that's crazy. How can you live in 3 different homes at the same time? Well, nobody's doing that, right? It's so different than what I thought I wanted. So how did I know that that was true for me? Well, because I got lighter, and because all of a sudden I perceived so much joy with having 3 different houses. So probably one in Romania to be with my family and visit them whenever I want. One in Spain because I like the sea and the sun and the good food and seeing friends there. And another one probably is some country in Western Europe to be able to easily, pick up projects and travel and see clients and so on and so forth. And that sounded like, oh my God, this would be amazing for me. And obviously from all these logical reasons, why would I choose that, right? It's not normal for somebody to have 3 houses and live in 3 different places. Why invest in so many places when you can rent something? Well, that wasn't my idea of success. I want to be able to have my clothes, my things, my personal belongings in all these houses. They need to be close to an airport, a big airport, so that I can fly and I can travel easily. But then when I get there, I want to be able to relax and say, oh yeah, and have my bed sheets and have my stuff in there. So even though it makes absolutely no logic, from this reality's point of view and what other people are choosing, that's what's fun for me. And now I get to ask, okay, so what will it take for me to have 3 houses in 3 different countries and be, and move around? So then I had to ask myself the same with what's success in business for me? What's success in business for you? What's success in business for you in your career? Are you willing to even explore that idea, even though it might be so different than what everybody else is choosing? I realized that for me it's so important to be able to share these type of tools of creation, of a created reality, a created world with people, that's what success is all about for me. And starting with people in companies, because there's where we mostly we keep these things out of companies because, we need to be all professional and we don't discuss about these things and awarenesses and consciousness. That's not something we normally, adopt and be in companies. So that's exactly where I want to bring these tools, because the world needs us. The world needs us, the creators, the seekers of the world, to step up, to speak up, to function from awareness rather than the limitations of the past and the limitations of the mind. And then we will create something greater. So that's what success is about for me in business. And once I got that awareness, I started looking at, okay, so am I willing now to commit at that type of success? I was like, yes. Right? So if before that was a no, now when I looked at what that was for me, that changed. So if you want to play, I invite you to do the same. I invite you to look at what is success for you in all these different areas of your life, and then are you willing to choose it? Are you willing to commit to it? Whatever it takes for you to bring that into existence, will you commit to it? And then see what shows up in your life. Are your actions different? Who you talk to, who you interact with, how you interact with people, what changes? So I would love to hear from you. If this is something you're playing with, you're looking at in your life, let me know how it goes. Let me know what new awarenesses you got. I would be honored to hear from you. And if you have further questions on this topic, and this is something that unravels for me as well, so there are so many different facets of this. As we're moving from survival into thriving, there are so many different facets, and I'm sure more will come up for me as well. And I'll keep on sharing these things with you. But what's that for you? What's showing up for you? Feel free to write me on LinkedIn, or leave a comment below and let me know what's that for you. So if you're willing and interested in continuing this conversation in a more intimate space, come join our LinkedIn community. It's a private group. It's a free community. It's called the Conscious Leaders Club. I'm going to put a link somewhere around here so that you can easily find it. And until next time, have fun looking at these things. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be nasty. It can be easy if you choose so, but it is required for you to use the tools, use the questions, follow your awareness, and get really honest with yourself and what you've been choosing so far. Have an excellent day. Bye.